Now. Trust no one.
And you are... Trust no one. Victory for Sylvanas.
watch over you. And you are. Do not seek death. What is it? Goodbye.
Well, hello. I didn't realize I was. I'd forgotten I was streaming at all. Let me switch on over here. Only. Oh, because yeah. It was hot in here, so. Look at this. Look at this sucker right here. I'm pretty much done with that for a little bit anyway. Oh. All right, let's exit out of that. No, not that one. This one. And execute. And then I can close that. Bring that over here. And then I'll do the fit to screen, transition. Got the old mug on. This is the trying to do this in real time. This is the Walmart special webcam that I'm filming on, and it was out there in the it was by the TV, so it all looked very cloudy. There is no pro. Doing that right? I am. Oh, yeah. Those two concurrents. Who's the second one? There's a second one? You're the only one who's spoken to me. I wasn't even sure it was going at all, to be quite frank. And I know the lag is terrible, too. I was just, just fishing. Just hanging out fishing, waiting for Matty to log up to get done with his mission. He was on another mission. And so I figured, all right, I'll go in here and I'll fish for a little bit and I'll wait for him to get done. And he got mad at me. And I'm like, well, now I don't want to play anymore. This whole point was to, all right, get me back into it. But hey, such is life. And that's okay. I don't expect anything. It's been a very strange day. And there's, like, internet-wise and real-life-wise, and the universe does its own thing. So I'm trying my best to kind of acclimate to the changes and the chemical fluxes. Because I think I must have streamed like 4 or 5 times today, easy. And it's been a roller coaster of people subscribing, unsubscribing, drama out of nothing. It's been bizarre. Almost to the point where, like, where I'm almost kind of ready to take a little, yeah, that's certainly true. But there's nothing I can do about it. I have a little tiny bit of influence, but I have no power. So with that, the only power I have is my own personal agency and going, oh, well, how can I make the world a better place in my own small way? That's all I got, man. You know? It's like, I can't pay anyone's rent. I can't pay anyone's utility bills. I can't even pay for food for myself because they stripped the SNAP program in half, and they're trying to continue to strip it down even further. It's been trying, and I'm trying to put on a positive. I try to put out positive energy, but it's tough when you get so much negative in all the time. To have to convert that to positive, it requires a lot of energy, and I feel like I'm. Well, see that, but that's the beautiful part is I get along with my neighbors, and I like that. I mean, nothing's ever perfect, but there's peace here. My neighbor actually watches my live streams occasionally. She comes in here, and she doesn't come in here. She, I guess she was telling me today that she has moved on to the computer. She used to do it on her phone, but now she moved to an actual PC, and so she watches my streams from there occasionally. And I thought that was very nice, that to have such a local influence. Yeah. And the thing is, for other factors, I can't get an above the table job for another 3 months, so it's rough. It's been tight economically, and I'm not the only one. I see other people struggling a lot financially, to the point where people are coming to me going, help me, and I'm like, duh, I can barely keep myself afloat. I don't know much what I can do for other people aside from give that, let the universe breathe vibe. So it's these are trying times, but I'm still trying to keep a positive mindset and still trying to be positive despite all the stuff that's going on. And regardless of which side you're on, I mean, it's troubling. And I don't believe I'm on either side. I really consider myself an independent. But the things that are happening, you can't really be in the middle because they've polarized so much. I feel like a dendrite, if that's kind of an electrical-ish joke. But for today, in the moment, I got a couple beer, I got a few cigarettes, I'm still getting on, and I'm not getting bombed or assassinated or anything like that, so here's to that. And you're okay, so that's another good thing for the universe. Aw, thanks, that helps a lot. I almost teared up there, Jesus. Thanks, man. It really has been. This has been my only income, and people have been really good. People have been super chatting occasionally, and Benito and Toby, they both joined the G-Force, so they're in the monthly membership, and they got their T-shirts, and the T-shirts are really cool. Did I show you the I did a bunch of different ones. From the Awesome album. Oh, wait. There we go. And I was wearing that earlier. That's much more slimming. Wait, are you implying I don't have to be a responsible adult? I think we all have to. And that's the don't lie, don't steal, and be nice. And I'm glad you do. I'm glad some people do, because I am It's not like I'm lazy. It's not like I'm, the work that I'm doing here is to compensate for the work that I can't do outside in the outside world. And I do a lot of work in the outside world, but I just don't get the check for it. So it's that's really nice. I appreciate that. Every little bit really helps. It goes a long way. And it has been a trying time. No, and as well you should be, because people are looking to take everywhere. So I guess I'm just feeling like a little. It's been a deflating day in a sense, and I hate to even say that and to admit that I've let the universe in my head, so to speak. But I'm a human being too, so it's been kind of. I mean, I worked hard today in my own way. Even getting into into this stream, into the WoW stream, it took a lot of effort and a lot of like research and poking buttons and doing that stuff. And you go, well, that's not real work. Well, it drains you mentally. Like, have you ever had to wait on hold, for someone, for a social service or for a bill collector, or trying to figure out, trying to dispute a bill? It's painful. It really is. And I appreciate the fact that you're a responsible adult. I'm sorry I took that a little. Because I don't feel like I am being a responsible adult because I don't have a full-time job. And I've had them. I've had, I was Employee of the Month twice at Mohegan Sun. I was a great dealer. I got promoted, at McDonald's and at this job. And then, they say, oh, well, yeah, we liked you then, but we don't like you now. And then off to the races you are. So it's, yeah. And I empathize with other people, and I don't mean to be selfish, but again, it's kind of like, I'm trying to keep my own boat in the water, and others are like, please, throw me a bone here, and I'm like, I'm out of bones. I'd like to think so. It's when you start to measure it, when you start to measure human beings by output or by money or by, well, how many hours did you spend doing what today? It quantifies existence to a point where it's almost not worth it. That's kind of a screwed up thing for me to say, but that's kind of how I'm viewing it lately. Where it's just like, well, look, even if we're all doing the right stuff, the stuff that we're supposed to, we're told by society, all right, put in your 40, do a good job, you'll get rewarded, and you can stay alive and have food and have electricity and have, just basic necessities. And it doesn't play out that way for very, very many people. And again, I'm not neglecting the fact I'm much luckier than anyone in the Middle East right now. And I'm very grateful that by gift or luck of birth that I was able to be here in this quiet corner where things are cool and yeah. 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 Well, and then, all right. Let's get philosophical for a second. It's like, but let's say let's say that 20% of all American people are mentally retarded. If they just can't achieve to a certain point. If they're all doing their best, that doesn't invalidate their existence, but it's very frustrating for the people who are running circles around them trying to get the job done. So I think we're on the same page with that. I'm glad you came in here. I mean, not just for that, but Because I really want, even playing that fishing in that game, I'm just like, boy, it's amazing how many people there are around me. But I felt very alone in that moment until you popped up. And now it's like, oh, here's a blast from the past, and sometimes I feel like it goes on deaf ears. So it's nice to have people like you and Toby and Benito go, hey, no, you're worth it. Don't ever start. When I start doubting myself, Benito was one of the first people to go, no, don't start doubting yourself. And I mean, I hope the work shows. I mean, if it doesn't show on the channel or in the paintings or in the music or in the, I mean, effort's been put forward, and it's not like, and I've done my more than my fair share of physical labor on top of that. I know I'm not buff, but I work, I sweat, and I do stuff I don't want to do all the time. Sorry, I'm unloading. I'm pontificating at you. And I don't mean to talk at you. But that was very nice, and that alleviates a little load on my shoulders. Isn't that nice when you can just take? I ever tell you about the restaurant? The proudest moment I've ever had was at a Denny's, and it was like 2 a.m., and it was up in Massachusetts, and it was after the bars let out, and everyone was in this Denny's, and it was packed, and there was one waitress working, and tables weren't cleared. I mean, and people were just go, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? And they were running this girl ragged, and they didn't appreciate her situation. And after watching this for a little bit, I was sitting in the back of like one of those curved tables. And so I got up, I stood on the table, I stepped over it, I got down and I started bussing all the dirty tables that she had and started bringing all the dishes back to the kitchen. And I was like, this poor girl, she needs help. And so I went up and I stepped up and I helped her. And then at the end of the dinner, she thanked me for that in and of itself. But at the end of the dinner, me and the party I was with, we ended up tipping her like $150. And she nearly cried because we were like, we see how hard you were working. And, we want to give this to you to, because obviously, and that was one of the proudest moments of my life where she's like, yes, I made a difference in somebody's life. I took the pressure off of that one girl, that one woman in that one moment, because it was the right thing to do. And that's, I'm glad I did that. And I'm grateful I get to reflect on that as often as I do. Because that was the right thing to do in the right moment at the right time for another human being. I don't know. She could have been terrible. She might have been mean. She might have been, I didn't know anything about her, but I just saw someone suffering and I was like, let's step up. Let's say no. I mean, rather than everyone sitting there yelling at you, going, hey, where's my order? Where's my order? What, And I hope so, I hope those ripples made their way through the universe. I really do believe, even if it's subtle, it does impact things. And that's nice. It's a nice hope, anyway. No empirical evidence to date. But we shall see. I'm not done. Not by a long shot. I mean, I'm done wowing for... We'll see if Maddie, how Maddie approaches me tomorrow. I mean, granted, he did spend like $30 trying to get me back into WoW, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I didn't realize he was gonna. He got so upset. Here's hoping. And I hope it influenced her to be just as kind to others. Kindness is in short supply. Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand why, like, all the, like, in America, you're an American. I don't know why I'm saying that, but we have had a huge influx of people across the border illegally. And it certainly has affected the economy and our resources and what's available. But wow. The glee that some of these people seem to have inflicting violence on other people. And granted, even if they aren't supposed to be here, it's kind of like a bouncer mentality, which really perturbs me. So I'd rather be the guy who helps, helps the waitress rather than, throws on a mask and beats up a 14-year-old. Despite the fact that some of those 14-year-olds deserve it. Those little bitches. It's been an interesting bunch of days, and I'm sure many more to come. I don't even know. See, the thing, I haven't used OBS since you were a regular. Like when I met you, I had just stopped this. I just had started going, I think, vertical. And I never thought I was going to go back to this. But then Maddie was like, hey, do well. I'll give you a couple months of membership. And I'm like, all right. Skank Hunt said it was a good idea. So I went with Skank Hunt. However, Skank Hunt also said that the, where is it? There it is. That the Piss Mug t-shirt would do fantastic too. So we'll see how that works. Coming to a neighborhood near you. Peasants versus Peasants. Brought to you by the banks. Oh, they're good at that. And then they'll charge us entry to see the peasants fighting the peasants. Such a shame. Oh, how come there isn't any shows about neighborhoods coming together and building a better neighborhood? You know what I mean? How come there isn't a television show about a detective cop who finds a way to feed, like 100 families and pay their rent? How come those can't be fairy tales? I want those fairy tales. And the truth of the matter is, it's always been, in my experience, from my observation, it's always been the Republicans, big oil on the right, and then the Democrats were big banks on the left. And never the people shall meet. You know what I mean? It was just a big scam against everybody. But nobody seems to. No one wants to go into the boardrooms. I don't think protesting in the streets is going to do anything. But if you protest in those boardrooms, if you get into the Eversource CEO headquarters, and you get 1,000 people in that boardroom going, "Hey guys, what you doing? How are your golden parachutes holding up? I think maybe we need to have a discussion." I think that's appropriate. I think we could do it without violence. I think we could just reassign them, give them menial jobs. And hell, they might even be able to keep the money, but they have to go, okay, yeah, we did it. Yeah, we are. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And again, I get it, because when other people are trying to suck your resources, you're like, hey, get away from from the stuff I worked for. But at the same time, it's like, look, we're all in the same position, and they have the power, they have the resources to give, or even if not to give, but to let people earn. And it would make the world a better place. But This is me rambling. Again, true wisdom is knowing I'm an idiot. I don't really know anything. I'm just trying to make a couple people laugh, singing a couple verses of "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and with any luck, well, thanks to you, it won't even be luck. I'll be okay by the end of next month for another couple months. You know what I mean? And that's all we kind of trying to get by, a month at a time, a week at a time. And we are fighting over scraps. Well, I ain't fighting. I'm giving away my scraps. I'm sharing my scraps. I cooked for two other people and myself today. I shared of what I had. I think that counts for something. Ugh. So what do you think? In the end, was the Piss Bug t-shirt a good idea? I'm trying to take it up from deep. Bury my lighter? I might have. And already, I'm you made the the OnlyFans joke when you came in. It's hot in here again. I feel hot again. Granted, I'm sure the drinking doesn't help. Even is it funny? Yes. I would never buy one or wear one. No. That's an honest answer, and I appreciate that. I will share that. Because it's okay for me to make one. I walked into Sunnyside Farms, which is a convenience store down the road. The guy didn't get it. And then I walked back here, and everyone around here was like, yeah, it's pretty funny. But it takes a special kind of person to be able to wear this in public. At least you think it's funny. That's really what I was going for. And it wasn't even my idea. It was Skank Hunt 42's idea. He was like, you should make a Piss Bug t-shirt. And I'm like, you think people would like that? And everyone in the room said, yeah, do it. And me, like a little following punk, I went, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it doesn't hurt anybody. Hey, thank goodness. I'm glad it's funny. I'm glad some people get it. It was just made today too. They tried to bring it down to me, and I had the air conditioner on, so I couldn't hear them knocking. So I went up and I grabbed it. I came back down here and I put it on. And I'm like, and I was a little concerned going into the store. I'm like, well, what if they get offended? Everyone's so offended. But honestly, people don't even look. He didn't really even notice. And when I asked him specifically, is this funny or is this offensive? And he goes, I just don't get it. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. Rock on. Yeah, because standing out when you're trying to attract a mate, that's one thing. See, and that's kind of like reading the room you're going into. You clean up when you have to, and you straighten it up when, it's like a model. A model is supposed to be someone who makes the product look better, not worse. They go, okay, here's a model, and they're wearing this, therefore, because they're pretty and they're rocking this, maybe you could. I think that's kind of how it works. And I clean up well. You've seen it. I mean, you know, when I go from this scruffy guy in the bed to Tux boy, I mean, it's quite the transformation. Especially when I shave. I need to shave so bad. It's been such an odd day. And there's more that I can tell you, and I will tell you as time goes on, because everything intersects everything, and it's tough to calculate it all. It's like I think I told you my father died like 13, 14 years ago, and my mother in the last year met a guy who's, Kevin, the first time was unexpected. Thanks for that. And in the last like couple years, she met a guy who she really likes, and she's been hanging out with him, kind of like he's her boyfriend. And at first, I'm like, well, I'll meet the guy. And I met the guy, and the guy was pretty cool. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know, he's not replacing my dad, and I'm an old guy myself now. But I grew to like him. Well, come to find out, he's got cancer. And so now my mom's been bringing him back and forth to Yale Hospital. So she's been driving from here in Danielson, Connecticut, like 3 hours down to New Haven. And, you know, supporting him and standing by him and doing that and doing great. I mean, that's a great thing for a person to do. And I've grown to appreciate him, like not as a father, but as someone who makes my mother happy. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm just glad that there's someone that, you know, and the pain, watching her, the pain that she's going through because here's another person that she cares about. It's, you know, all that stuff, it ripples into my life, it ripples into other people's lives. So there's no instance that's truly isolated. Excuse me. Yeah. You know, it's and I don't say any of this in a poor me sort of sense. It's an observation of the universe and trying to stay objective and trying to stay, well, yes, these things happen. Trying to stay objective but not being cold and jaded about it, because that's definitely a possibility. You know, I feel those pulls. I feel the dark side pulling to me. But, you know, I'm still, again, doing the best I can, and I think I'm making progress. For the most part, I've been making progress. This week has been bizarre. Like the internet, the news, the world. And I'm trying to navigate through it and still land in a balanced position, which is becoming increasingly more difficult. But, you know, we all have our struggles, don't we? I'm sure you have yours. And I apologize if I haven't listened to yours. I've just been pontificating at you. And I appreciate you kind of listening. No, I appreciate you listening. Period. Because you know, I'm sure you weren't expecting an emotional dump from Kevin G. Nicholson at like 12 o'clock. Well, it's 12 where I am. At midnight. But we're talking. I don't want to be bitter. I mean, there is a lot in there is a lot in life that's good. You know, like you see in nature, there are animals that rescue other animals. There are people who show compassion, and there are good people out there. It's just very hard to see them. Well, I just hope that I haven't like spewed. I mean, you've been a good sport to kind of listen to me go blah 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 blah. Because it's been odd, and I'm trying. I am. I'm still trying my best within my limited means, and I think the people around me have been too. But I feel like I've yammered too much at this point. So you got any suggestions? What do you think I should be doing in the next few weeks? Should I be wowing? Should I, be playing music? Should I be, I'm really kind of like, still have directions to go in, but the uncertainty that goes with all of those directions is certainly a lot more. It's just a lot more unstable. So if you got any wisdom to share, I'm listening. I mean, if you perceive that I have any gifts, then please let me know what I should focus my energy on. That would be most efficient and probably have the most impact. Because that's I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get better. Still trying to grow. I don't know enough about your monetization numbers or what has been successful to provide an opinion. Wow, that is well spoken. It's very well spoken. Can I answer that question? Even if you were to have those numbers, would. I mean, because they're there. I'm making a little bit. I was able to. Yeah. All right, listen to this, Dad. Let's see. God bless the weird guys. If there are like 20 or 30 of you weird guys who kind of think, okay, he's kind of cool. That would be enough to sustain me, according to like YouTube anyway. But it's like I was able to get just enough in order to get supposedly paid last month. Like the payment threshold on YouTube is you have to get $100 in the bank, so to speak, before they'll even consider paying you. And then they pay you between the 21st and the 28th, if I'm remembering correctly. And I had just made it, but I had just missed it by that much. So I didn't get paid this month. I'll get paid at the end of next month in that same pay period. And I got lucky with a couple of videos and with a few super chats. And so I'll still be able to get a few $100 at the end of next month. But it's tight, and certainly a couple $100 helps. It really does. The $10 helps. It really does. But it doesn't. I'm nowhere close to paying my bills, and I'm kind of trying to balance it all out. And YouTube is my only legitimate income outside of like the $2 a month I'm getting from Spotify now since they changed the rules. That sucked. I thought I had one at that point. I'm like, oh, okay, couple $100 a month. Yay, I'm on board. I can make that grow. And they said, yeah, but no. Focus on the positive. And there's more. There's so much more I could tell you. But being that as it is, it was really good to see you. But I think I'm going to attempt to attempt to finish my beer and I think go to sleep. It's getting a little on for an old man like me at this point. But thank you very, very much. Your drugs are lucrative. For many, it's never. It's been good for me as a pseudo user. It certainly helped me keep my calm. It's a good answer, though. I think that market's pretty much covered now, too, though. Hell, I get it from my... Well, I don't want to say too much. Anyway, I'm going to go... I'm going to go. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Take care of yourself, man.